I can't say that I was prepared to have these opening remarks, but perhaps that is the job of the head of the institution, and it's really my privilege to be welcoming each one of you out here. When Anil comes here, it's like family visiting, you know. We've got a long association right from the days of St. Nero's College. We are also, we were Rotarian friends as well. And especially on a Friday evening, when you start meeting up friends, there's all glory and there is all bonhomie, right? There is a masti in the air, something magical that happens on Friday evenings. So perhaps this day has been deliberately selected by another very good friend of mine, Mr. Advait, and he too is part of the SVIMS family. And today I feel nice that this family is expanding even more because the friends of Anil and Advait are indirectly and now directly my friends. So welcome to the SVIMS family. I can't tell you how happy I feel that each one of us is going to be enriched with the wisdom and the experience that Anil brings to the table. Wherever Anil goes, I guess he carries with him stories of how he has made people rich. Anil, I'm in the process. That's why I should meet you more frequently, I guess. And perhaps he has also averted financial tragedies. So it is indeed a treat for my MBA and MCA students who would be fledgling in their careers and require this kind of wisdom, require this kind of, alerts and check boxes that I'm sure Anil will come up with and help you in your journey of becoming prudent. Thank you, Advait, for giving us this opportunity to host this program. Truly feel honored. Thank you.
But we've been organizing this program called Between the Lines for some time now. It's, as you know now, it's a free and open for all kind of program. Every month we identify a book that we believe is a good book to read, more often than not recently published. And then, as many of you would know, Eklavya does a fantastic summary of the book. Sometimes he uses slides, most times he doesn't. So if you like the book, then our friend Rohit Jarajani and his team puts up a stall outside and you can buy the book, or you can just say, fine, I knew what the book talks about. And depending on the book, normally we invite people from the industry and I try and moderate a discussion on the topic of the book. This incidentally is our 113th such program. So every month we do this. Thank you. So we were lucky that through COVID, when we were obviously forced to do this online, as soon as we were allowed to do this offline in person, we went back to kind of thing. And now of course we all dread to get reminded of those days, but we had to restriction. If you remember those times when marriages were happening, it was 25 people from each side. Since this was not a marriage, we were told only 25 people from one side. And we were told to conduct such events where otherwise you could seat 100 people, so that there is that social distancing, masks and all that part. Thankfully, we are far left that behind. So of these 112 odd events, 113 events now, we've been lucky maybe 10 or 12 times to have the author in the room. And in such cases like today, then we change the kind of thing. When author and somebody like Anil is in the room, you don't need a panel discussion. You don't want to take away his time from anybody else. So that's what this program is. Once again, let me thank Sadhu Vaswani Institute of Management, Bhagwanti, Ashish and all the faculty members for hosting us today. Thank you National HRD Network for supporting us for many years now. Thanks to Rohan Builders for supporting us. And thanks again to Rohit for having this bookshop, pop-up bookshop outside. So without much ado, let me hand over to Eklavya.
Thank you. So I have to admit that when we decided to have this particular book, and Anil was kind enough to share a copy of the same with Advait, this was around the same time when the now infamous marks by the L&T chairman came out in the open. And I must say that I went through an existential crisis thanks to what Anil has done, because he's made me grow up thinking that I'm supposed to romance the balance sheet and I'm supposed to flirt with stocks while maintaining a healthy, happy married life back home. And then suddenly I'm told that I have to work 90 hours a week and I cannot even stare at my wife on the weekends. So yeah, thank you so much for nothing, Anil.
Your wife is staring at that book.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't blame her. Look at Anil in all his glory over here. So, timeless wisdom on finance. I think this, we often talk about coffee table books. I don't know how many of us have had the good fortune of leafing through a coffee table book. But those are like those perfect books which you don't need to spend too much time on. But usually they leave an indelible impression on your mind. And I must say that as sort of, inconspicuous this book might look like from the outset, I think this probably makes for a better coffee table book than most others that we actually come across. And allow me to explain you why I'm saying that. So essentially what this book comprises are several nuggets of financial wisdom, and I dare say life wisdom, because some of these things often tread a very thin and fine line between what you're doing in a personal life and how that reflects in the decisions that you make, with, whether you're running your own business or you're a professional. And all of these, I would say some 100-odd principles or truisms that Anil has penned down, none of these you can actually digest in one sitting. So the same way as you look at a coffee table book, you glance through the pages, you look at those beautiful photographs, and you read some of the text, and then it just captures and lends a new perspective to you, for which you'll talk about for a few more days after that, and you share with others also. It's exactly the same feeling which gets conveyed through this book. And I don't know why, but somehow I have this doubt that I think most business families, we often talk about that there are certain business communities, and in those families, like the breakfast table, lunch table, dinner table conversations always revolve around business, they revolve around money. I have a feeling that they must be engaging in conversations the kind of which Anil has actually put down in the book. They must be actually talking about what does it mean to be successful in business, what does it mean to be profitable, what matters more, profit or cash, what are those decisions that are going to set you back in your business from a financial perspective, what are going to be those key drivers, those key triggers, the financial pulse of your organization which you need to be very well aware of. I'm quite certain that people who seem to have a good financial acumen are people who are actually aware of these concepts already. It's just that they manage to put this into practice, whereas most of us, while we do learn them, and I'm sure we appreciate them in that moment, but unfortunately, we do not think back or we do not ruminate enough on them for us to make them part and parcel of our life and our decision making. So mind you, again, a disclaimer, nothing which you read in the book, with all due respect to Anil, there's nothing in the book which will come as a surprise or a shock to you. You won't have moments of epiphany. What you will definitely end up with are going to be long and lasting moments of introspection, of understanding, assimilation, and there's going to be an internal sort of, non-congruence, that something which you thought was true, suddenly he's lending you a different perspective and making you believe that no, sometimes it's not true. Like he says, one of the things that less is bad, but more is worse. Just think about that. Nobody ever puts it so succinctly and in such few words. And that, I think, is also the hallmark of somebody who has mastered his craft. And I don't need to stand here and praise Anil, because I'm sure all of us know well and truly about what he's achieved and what he's really on the path of achieving. But I think that it's criminal that those of us who are in Pune have not benefited from him being right here in our city. So yes, thanks to Advait, it's high time that we said that right today. Now, what the book essentially comes with is the sort of premise that First of all, get this notion out of your head that this is a book for finance professionals. And when I say finance professionals, I include students from our MBA school right now over here who perhaps might be majoring in finance. The book is essentially a must read for anybody who has anything to do with business. If my job is just to pick up a bottle of water and keep it from here to there, I need to be aware of some of the things which are actually penned out in this book. It doesn't matter whether I am in the HR function, it doesn't matter whether I'm heading sales, it does not matter whether I'm driving operations, marketing, any department. Because, as he also has put it in the book so clearly, that at the end of the day, the finance department is only stating or reporting the financial position of a company. And if you're not making use of that, or if you claim to be ignorant of that, simply because you do not possess a piece of paper certifying that you're a finance professional, then quite honestly, it's time to really introspect and change your career track. Because in today's day and age, with everything that's going around us, we cannot say that we are financially ignorant. We cannot really hide behind that excuse that I did not understand numbers, or numbers scare me, or I do not know how to read a balance sheet, or in my case, fall in love and romance the balance sheet. 2010 was a tricky time for me, Anil, thanks to you, when the book came out. So all of these things, we have to do away with all of these sort of, ill-conceived beliefs. And the best way in which we do it is actually by picking up the book, reading one page at a time. In fact, I might even go so far to say that one page in a couple of days, in 2 or 3 days. This is the kind of book where you just pick up, and read it from anywhere. It will still make sense to you. It will still resonate with you. There are different sections on financial management largely. There's on taxation, macroeconomics, stock market investing. And then my favorite part, which is like one-liners. And for somebody who likes pithy remarks, you can't get better than that in terms of the kind of truisms that he's doled out. But what it starts off with is, first and foremost, dispelling the myth that we don't understand finance because we are not part of that department. Because at the end of the day, while financial reporting might take place in the finance and accounts department, financial mismanagement is taking place in every other department. So we are the ones who are basically making life tricky for our business itself. And yet, if we sort of, exonerate ourselves from all of the blame, and we always look upon the finance function or the finance professionals or the heads of finance and accounts to guide us, we are doing our business and ourselves a great disservice. And that is probably what he's also been trying to explain and educate us for so many years, that financial literacy is not that difficult. It does not mean that I need to sit over here and be able to explain you how to calculate the IRR without opening up my Excel sheets. No, it's not that. But as long as I understand the basic concepts, as long as I understand the basic golden rules of financial management, I'm at least going to add certain value to my business, to my department, and to the overall financial health of the organization. And what are some of these golden rules? Simple yet profound. Like one of the things which he's talked about at length is the fact that, first of all, understand your sources of funds. Don't think that the money which you're borrowing, because every business needs money which is borrowed to start their business. Now, the borrowings are going to be in the form of loans, or it's going to be in the form of the owner's contribution, which is the capital. And the biggest mistake, like Anil says, most business owners end up doing is not pegging a value to their own contribution, assuming that it's free money, which has been given out of the largest and goodwill of the owner himself. That is the biggest fallacy in business. And that's the reason why we often end up investing in assets which do not generate returns that are commensurate to the cost of capital or exceed the cost of capital. And as he has drilled into our heads, so often the cost of capital includes your own contribution. You cannot ignore that. And the other thing, which again comes out oftentimes in the book, is this, that ensure, so first of all, you've made sure that your assets, or basically that you have put a value in terms of the capital and the borrowings, and you're investing in assets which are going to generate sufficiently high returns so that it covers this cost of capital or exceeds it, hopefully. That's the first sort of, tick in the box. And the second tick in the box is that you have to make sure that your assets are generating a cash inflow well before your liabilities start demanding the outflow that is actually due to them. Simple. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Anil's entire philosophy on financial management and financial analysis probably rests on these two, if I can say, pillars of analysis. And if you think about it, how often do we actually spare time to really look at our own balance sheets? And when I say balance sheet, I'm just using that as an umbrella term. I mean overall all the financial statements. How often do we look at them and basically ensure that they are stress tested to pass through this examination? It doesn't happen that often. As he puts it in the book, that if you were to look at some of the failure stories, some of the most celebrated failure stories also of businesses, you'll often find that there is a common thread running through them, and that is that the business owner or the entrepreneur or the management team decided to use short-term funds to secure or invest in long-term assets. Simple yet true, and often the cause of the failure or death of lots of businesses. And I'm sure Anil will have a lot of stories to drive this point home for those of us who still would like to believe that no, it's other things that take precedence over poor financial management. But that's the reality. A lot of businesses often fall by the wayside because of the financial decisions that they often do not take, as much as the financial decisions that they do end up taking. And I know that I have also spoken many times in this forum of ours, Between the Lines, in various sessions about the power of compounding across different books and different themes that we have covered. And one thing which I have learned now, courtesy the book, is that as much as I extol the virtues of the power of compounding, calling it the eighth wonder of the world, I think there's a ninth wonder of the world which Anil has laid out for us, which is contribution. Those of us who don't understand contribution are destined to die because of negative contribution. Sales less variable expenses. Simple equation which very often does not get enough discussion points or mind space within the people who really hold decisions related to pricing. Why? Because we love to operate in silos, because we believe that drives efficiency. And yes, while that might be true to a great extent, we also often sacrifice common sense at the pedestal of management efficiency. You can actually continue selling your products or services at negative profits as long as you're in positive contribution. Chances are that you'll recover, you'll recoup, and you might still end up in a financially healthy and acceptable state. But if you make the cardinal error or sin of selling at negative contribution, the more you sell, the more you're digging your grave, because your losses are just going to accrue further. Again, these are things which often, and I would say all of us would have learned this. I'm sure all the students who are sitting over here have probably learned these concepts. And you're all thinking that why is this guy standing over here and trying to explain us again, which is something we covered in Finance 101. Because chances are you can bet your last rupee on it that 5 years, 7 years down the line, you're not going to remember that. These concepts, which we think are so fundamental and intrinsic to our own business understanding, they often get sidelined because of our obsession over complicating things excessively. And one of the most beautiful things, I think one of the acts of public service which Anil has to be commended for, is removing all complexity and jargon from the world of finance. So if you really think about demystifying finance and all that comes under it, I think this book is a good starting point. Is this all that you'll require in your journey? Definitely not. But is this a good place to start the journey? A resounding yes. And there are many more such topics which get covered in this. And there are also things which, like I said, make you question some of those really strongly held beliefs which we have, like in terms of growth. At what cost does growth come? And I'm not just talking about organizational growth. As he mentions, it's about the country growth. And we all know that we require debt. At some point or the other, countries need to start accumulating debt in order to grow. But then when do you fall into the debt trap? And what are those early indicators and how do you get out of it is something which we understand if we pick up this book and start skimming through the pages. Is it prescriptive? Not really. Does it lay out a formula, courtesy which, all that ails our organizations, all that ails our own personal finances will suddenly vanish and disappear? Absolutely not. Does it make you feel that you need to be in charge of your own finances and be accountable for the decisions that you're making? Yes, it will wake you up from the stupor, because most of us feel very content in saying, with a great sense of pride, that I do not like to take financial decisions. That's not really my forte. I'm more of a marketing guy. I'm more of a people's person. We say that very often, right? Like, my organization is built on people. And there's a thing which Advait often tells our clients, and I've been hearing him say that for nearly the last 16 years, and I'm pretty certain he has been saying that for the 16 years before that also. He keeps reminding clients, he keeps reminding them, especially the startups, that you're in the business of making money at the end of the day. We'll talk about everything else later, but do not forget that what you are in the business for. And I was so happy when the first page validates that whatever Advait has been professing for so long, someone like Anil also has validated. The very first thing which he says is that Tata Motors is not in the business of manufacturing automobiles. The Marriott Group of Hotels is not in the business of serving hospitality. They all are in the business of making money, making profit. And then one by one, he starts peeling the layers of what that actually means through the entirety of the book. When do we know that we're actually profitable? When do we learn that sitting on cash is sometimes more important than recording profit? Why is being profitable actually detrimental for a business? All of these things, we might have heard of them. We might have even engaged in some superfluous conversations around that, claiming to really know that in depth. The same way as all of us used to talk about quantitative easing, like as if that's something which we grew up learning about and now we are ready to talk about it at the drop of a hat. But now, at least with the understanding that this book imparts us, we too can start having those conversations. That unfair advantage which resides with those kids who come from business families, who actually spend time at the table having conversations with their family members, with their parents about business, about money, about what comes in out, what's the source of funds, how do you apply those funds, what really generates returns, what is the cost of capital. All of those things get clarified once and for all. And more importantly, even if you don't remember anything from the book, all that you take away from the book are just these golden rules which he has spelled out so beautifully, which is in terms of understanding or ensuring that your assets are going to be able to generate returns which at least measure up to or far exceed the cost of capital, including the owner's contribution. That's number one. And number two, the fact that your assets, you need to make sure that they're generating positive cash inflows for your business before your liabilities start exacting their pound of flesh or the cash outflows. As long as you understand these two things, believe me, I think we are more financially literate than most of the population. And to understand more about what financial literacy in the country means, or rather, like I've been begging Advait to ask Anil for the longest time, what is his origin story? Because if he's made us fall in love with numbers, there's got to be something that triggered his own passion and this love for numbers and finance. Over to the main part of today's session, which is the interview with Anil. Over to Advait. Thank you, everyone.
Since all of us are here, we all know who he is. But obviously, practicing chartered accountant, best-selling author, he's done his law. As I've introduced him, he's a doctorate, so he's a Dr. Anil Lamba as well. And most important thing is he's taken upon last 3 decades, 30 years now, one man, one team mission of financial literacy, and his dream is to make 1 billion Indians financially literate. And I'm sure he's, last 30 years, it's a long way to go, but I'm sure he's taken huge steps in that. So, Dr. Anil Lamba for you.
before you start, I want to commend Eklavya. I've heard him a few times before. This is a book on finance. Sometimes there could be a book on quantum physics. Sometimes it will be on something else. When he speaks, you feel he knows more than the author. Amazing job, Eklavya. And he picked out all the right points from the book. If I was to sit down and, put it in order of priority, very well, out of so many pages, how did you guess these are the two? And that is a fact. One clarification before you start. Guys, this book is not really a book. That's the reason you can read any page. Somewhere around post-COVID, I don't know, I started sending out every Sunday
Sunday musings.
something called Sunday Musings. Yes. Idea was to share it amongst my friends and clients. Some thought, as you said, deep thought in a few words, not meant to be read and forgotten, but mull, chew, digest throughout the day or throughout the week maybe. Started with a small group. The WhatsApp group, started growing, went into a few thousands. And what I didn't realize is many of the recipients used to send it further. Started going to lakhs of people. And this still goes on. Every Sunday I send it out. In fact, yesterday I was in Kolhapur and we launched Marathi musings and Sunday musings in Marathi.
Oh wow, okay.
So 150 people joined that group yesterday in Kolhapur, and now hopefully that will start. So then Harper, my publisher of many other books, they said, let's bring out a book on this. So guys, this book is Timeless Wisdom on Finance. Naam bhi maine nahi diya. I wouldn't have the audacity to call my own book as Timeless Wisdom. Harper decided to call it that. It's a compilation of those musings. No particular order, anything at random, you can read, and it should make sense, hopefully, particularly if you are running a business or if you have any interest in business. Sorry, I hijacked the conversation.
Compilation of Sunday musings. So essentially, by reading the book, you're at least 2.5, 3 years smarter. So Anil, let me start with asking a very basic question. When I was sort of going through some of your older interviews and that kind of thing, I believe you've said that your life personally and professionally, let's stick to professional life, your better half is sitting here, is a series of flukes. Now, what is a series of flukes? I mean, you can't be so successful by fluke.
First of all, that so successful itself with a question mark needs to be examined closely. That needs to be defined what that means. If success means huge satisfaction, yes, I am super successful. I seriously don't think I worked a day in my life. Every day you sleep waiting to get up in the morning. So if that is a measure of success, yes, I am successful. When I say it's a series of flukes, I didn't choose the field of finance for myself. It's not, a lot of people think, oh, did you love finance? Not at all. In fact, my most hated subject continues to be maths. I can't understand. I go blank when I look at formulae. People think, to understand finance, you got to be a master of maths. To run away from maths, I took commerce. Almost all the brilliant guys in my class went for science. I used to very sheepishly tell them, commerce, BCom kar raha hu. And then in 12th standard, those days, there was a fad to do CA. A lot of people were, if you're not a graduate, you have to give an entrance exam. A lot of people were appearing for entrance exam. I had no inclination to do so. So they were going for classes and all. Closer to the exam date, my brother said, you should do CA. Ye malum bhi nahi tha CA hota hai kya. Then because he suggested, I also filled the form. Without preparation, बैठ गया, pass हो गए तो so your next step is laid out for you. It's no credit goes to your thinking. Because you passed the CA entrance, you have to do CA. Because you've done CA, now your line is chosen for you. My thinking is only if you get into anything with your heart and soul, you start loving it. So had I done something else, maybe would have enjoyed that equally much. So this is what I meant by series of flukes.
But you also did law.
Then it makes sense. If you're doing CA, a very, very relevant qualification along with CA is LLB. Because as it is, half the time you're doing legal stuff. Income tax laws, company law. So anyone doing CS should do an LLB, anyone doing CA. And since I started CA while I was an undergrad, I was fortunate enough to finish intermediate along with BCom. Now you can't give final for a year and a half. So there was a free time. So then I joined law college.
Okay.
So CA Inter and BCom finished together, law and CA finished together.
Wow. Okay.
So I used to laugh those days. In July, I was a BCom. In August, I became BCom LLB. In September, I was BCom LLB CA. So as the results came one after the other.
Okay.
So that's how it happened.
How did the doctorate happen then?
That's an interesting question. We were not married then. We were one day sitting and chatting. I had, by fluke again, started teaching. I passed out as a CA, set up practice day one, foolishly.
So sorry to interrupt. When you said you are not married, I thought she said that's a precondition for you.
No, बताता हूँ. I'm coming to that. So CA, I started practicing day one. Symbiosis had, those days very few CAs used to pass. So everyone used to come to know कौन pass out हो गया. MBA colleges tend to invite you to teach finance. So Symbiosis से invitation आया था. First reaction was, no, पढ़ाएगा कौन यार? पढ़ाने को थोड़ी किया CA. But then on cooler thinking, you realize if you are a practicing CA and if you don't get all kinds of clients, obviously every day, client तो थे ही नहीं, बोलने को practicing CA था, hardly any clients to begin with. So if you don't get a client, your knowledge will get rusty. The only way you can keep in touch with your subject is by teaching. So by that logic, I said, okay. I remember I was sitting with the director. I was very socially active earlier. JC's ka president, this. So the director tha Symbiosis ka, we used to invite him as a speaker in our JC functions.
Okay.
So I remember sitting in his office and he said, Anil, you may be good, you may be bad, I don't know. But I go by feedback. I said, fine. इसे कब देना है? इसे अभी 2 बजने में 5 मिनट है, 2 बजे घंटी बजेगी. So the first class of my life, I didn't know 5 minutes before that. वो ऐसा फोबिया बन गया. उसके बाद जिंदगी में आई नेवर प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर अ क्लास. नाउ वी डू 5-5. अभी तो बहुत आदत पड़ गई तो नींद में भी कर लेंगे, बट तभी भी 3 फुल डे, मॉर्निंग टू इवनिंग, 8 hours corporate program. I've never ever prepared. Not even, you start thinking after reaching the class. That's one of the reasons I've enjoyed it so much. Zero pressure. जाने के बाद सोचना करना क्या है.
Okay.
So those days I used to teach also. So Nikki and I were sitting and, जैसे आजकल बहुत लोग बोलते हैं ना, I'll retire at 40. मैं भी बोलता था उन दिनों. तो used to say, teaching one day अब छोड़ छाड़ के we'll go out, travel the world. कहीं पढ़ेंगे, कहीं पढ़ाएंगे. बोलने को आसान है, पढ़ाएंगे, बुलाएगा कौन? So the thing that opens doors is a PhD.
Okay.
So he said PhD करना चाहिए so that you get invited to teach. Yeah. So I remember I had a motorcycle. We went to Pune University. Went to how to do PhD. So they directed us to the department. Form लिया. They said भर दो. Now always been impatient. अभी PhD करना तो फॉर्म दो, मैं थीसिस देता हूँ परसों. I used to write weekly columns in newspapers. So I had reams of. मेरे हिसाब से PhD का मैटर तो रेडी है, खाली कंपाइल करके. They told me 2 साल नहीं दे सकते. You fill a form and you can not submit.
Minimum 2 years.
तो ऑफिस में आके फाइल में डाल के भूल गया. 5 years down the line, उसकी वैलिडिटी 5 साल की होती है. 5 साल बाद यूनिवर्सिटी लेटर के, your registration is lapsing. Pay so much money and you can renew it. So immediately paid that. Now the deadline was not there. So within 6 months thereafter I had my PhD.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But 5 years after filling the form, didn't do anything. That's how PhD happened. Now you're making me revisit things which I haven't even thought of in years.
My job is to make people talk. So.
Yes.
So now let's come to your books and the most famous book and the title of that book. Why did you choose Romancing the Balance Sheet? Because that's the most opposite of one would think of balance sheet, P&L and romance. And Eklavya mentioned demystifying. And romance is not about, it's all about mystifying.
Again, Romancing the Balance Sheet, I really didn't write. Since I do everything that I love, anything that feel like work, I don't do.
Okay.
So उन दोनों भी पढ़ाते बहुत थे, and I could see, as you correctly pointed out, need for this. You know, whenever from college teaching, which soon I had to give up because practice picked up and it was interfere with working hours. But then corporate invitation by fluke started coming. Corporate Tata Motors was my first client, continues to be till date. And there I saw that this is different. College people are studying to pass exams. These people are going to apply. So that kick was a little different. But then I've seen the biggest of industrialists also who'd attend programs. Certain basic truisms they won't know. I've written in my book over there, one of the very senior industrialists, I won't name him, very respected man, honest fellow. I was that time maybe 25, 26 or something. He was that time nearing 60. He sat through a 2 to 3 day program, and at the end of it he said, Anil, if I knew this 20 years back, my life would have been different. Now I said, this is being ultra modest, impossible. He won't know, he's just being modest. Next program somebody else said, next program somebody else said, next. Then it came a stage where I started assuming nobody knows, and which was the correct thing. Almost nobody would understand. So that was a shock to me. You know, when you do a course like CA and you come out, you feel मैंने अभी सीखा है, दुनिया को तो पहले से आता है. I am the new guy on the block. And then you realize how little the world knows. So the desire, so coming back to your question, you teach a room full of 20, 30 people, you feel ye to but thousands and lakhs of people need. So that frustration, why am I talking with the same energy? Those days, no internet, no nothing. With the same energy, if I can reach out to more people. And the answer was a book, to reach out to more people. But I was thinking book bada mushkil kaam hai, boring kaam.
Those days there was no YouTube, no podcast, no Insta, nothing.
अभी इतने भी पुरानी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but yeah. So I used to think what is easy for me was making videos. So we created videos. Why? Because तैयारी करता नहीं था तभी भी. Video भी without thinking you start shooting. As a result, कहीं कट आ गया तो भूल गया क्या बोला था. फिर new train of thought used to start. But videos were easy. So I had videos in the market. CNBC used to sell my videos also. So they used to keep saying, Anil, write a book, write a book. I said, nah, लिखेंगे कभी यार. Then one day I got chicken pox. 10 दिन I was grounded. Chicken pox में हुआ कुछ नहीं था मेरे को. I was fine. But I'm told I have chicken pox. So it's contagious. So you can't even mingle with anybody. Kids, दूर रहो because it's contagious. So I was getting bored. Nothing to do. So I started typing. I was not really writing a book. I was killing time. वो 10 दिन हो गए तो ऐसा लगा किताब बन गई. Then I called up CNBC, who used to tell me write a book. I said लिख दिया. They said लेके आओ. Now what I didn't want to name it was a boring thing, finance for non-finance, balance sheet. I said, but I want to put the name of the book in the agreement. So wait, I'll bring it when I think of a name. 3 महीने 10 दिन में किताब लिखा, 3 महीने नाम नहीं strike हुआ. I remember sitting one day, ऐसे ही on my favorite chair, reading a paper. This name popped into my head. No credit to my thinking. Out of the blue. Maybe subconscious mind चलते रहता है ना. I got excited. Romancing the balance sheet. It sounds good. I went to her. How does it sound? She said, good. I went to my son. He liked it. Not her. I called up CNBC. Let's sign the agreement. Next day we signed it. So that's how Romancing the balance sheet came about.
Now tell me, in your great experience, why are people so afraid of finance, and why is finance so not even misunderstood, not understood?
Good question. There is a misconception amongst everybody that finance is difficult and is boring. Both are myths. According to me, there isn't a more common sense subject than finance. I always keep telling people, whatever I teach you, तुम मेरे से नहीं सुनोगे, रूम में बैठ के meditate करो, वही आंसर आपको मिल जाएंगे. You don't have to listen from me. Number 2, when they say it's boring, my answer is, yaar, I'm talking about money. How can money ever be boring? The most exciting thing in life is, but these 2 myths keep them away from this subject. And the price paid is too much.
And what part of finance they is the most difficult in your experience for people to understand?
You know, it's not finance. It's again they call accounts as finance. Many people by mistake. They think accounting, and now you can not understand anything of accounting and still master the subject of finance, and you could be a brilliant accountant and know nothing about finance. A thing as simple as just because you know how to make a balance sheet doesn't mean you know how to read it. And just because you know how to read it, you don't need to know it. आपको गाड़ी चलानी आती है, बनानी तो नहीं आती ना.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need to know how to make the car if you want to drive it. Same applies to a balance sheet. But people think accounts, समझना चाहिए ये, and they stay away from it. But staying away is fine. But like I said, the price paid. दुनिया में 90 to 95% of business failures are attributed to bad finance management. 90 to 95%.
दुनिया में.
दुनिया में. Across the undisputed numbers.
Okay. Now, you've been on a, like I mentioned in the intro also, you've been on a mission of financial literacy. What is your definition of financial literacy?
There are two things. You know, this is my profession also. By fluke, hobby turned passion turned profession. So, people pay us to teach. But somewhere along the line, a guilt feeling आया है. यार we are mercenaries. अब पैसा नहीं दोगे तुम नहीं पढ़ाएंगे. But need तो हर एक की है. Large companies can afford to pay, and the value they get is far more. They pay, no problem at all. But what about people who can't afford to pay? So guilt feeling led to saying बीच में free करना चाहिए, ये करना चाहिए. वो बढ़ते गया, which culminated into a project of mine called Financial Literacy for All, which is a mission to train 1 billion Indians free of cost.
Wow.
But down the line.
Wow.
People who can't afford to pay, but सीखना उतना ही ज़रूरी है. Let's see. Hopefully, as the years go ahead, the percentage of time devoted to that will increase more and more.
And how do you do that?
Now again, things underwent a lot of change. Like you said, initially, internet was not very rampant. So my original thinking of this was that I will train 1 million volunteers. Who will train 1 billion Indians? If I have to reach out, unending task. If you have anybody who's read Romancing the Balance Sheet, उसमें एक chapter भी डाल दिया मैंने. और गलती से उसमें लिख दिया, if you want to volunteer, please write to me. I still get hundreds of emails. And I don't know how to reply to them because along the way, internet happened. YouTube happened. And now I realize I don't need those volunteers. I can reach out directly.
Yeah.
So this model keeps changing.
Sure.
With Sakal, I had a tie-up. We'll go to interior of Maharashtra once a month. I said, I'll give you one day a month. हम लोग कोल्हापुर, सांगली, Aurangabad, multiple places we went. Through their newspaper, they used to gather 1,000 people, and I used to deliver in Marathi. Marathi.
Wow. Okay.
So, लगे हुए हैं.
Okay.
कहीं ना कहीं जाके इसको.
Now, some time back you mentioned finance for non-finance. Now, I have seen that you're a great critic of this entire phrase called finance for non-finance.
No. I'm a critic of the words non-finance.
Okay.
Finance, it's a misnomer. I call it an oxymoron. Non-finance person is an oxymoron. ये आधा काम तो मेरा एकलव्य ने कर दिया है, सारा बता चुका है वो. First of all, finance for non-finance is a generic term. It's not a title of a program. It indicates the audience.
Yeah.
So when I conduct a program on finance for non-finance, पहला message होता है तुम लोग non-finance नहीं हो. But had I called finance for finance, वो लोग आते नहीं थे. तो उनको लाने के लिए we say non-finance, and then we say it's wrong to say you're non-finance. Let me elaborate on it. Tell me, who is a finance person? What is the job of a finance person? Is it the job of a finance person to track financial information, to collect financial data, to record that data, to collate that data, to present that data, to prepare statements like profit loss accounts and balance sheets? Is that the job of the finance person? Answer is no. That is the job of the accounts person. So उनको अगर हमने बोला होता finance for non-accounting professionals, I would have agreed. But if that is not finance, then what is finance management? अब मेरी एक definition है, finance management is the ability on the part of every individual in the organization to understand the financial implication of whatever you are doing. You could be in charge of sales, you could be in charge of purchase, you could be in charge of HR. Every action of yours has a financial implication. What does financial implication mean? It is impacting the bottom line either positively or negatively. And I think the ability to understand that is what finance management is. And why should everybody understand how their actions are impacting the bottom line? So that as far as possible, every individual only does those things by which the bottom line is impacted positively and avoid doing things that hurt the bottom line. Guys, if this is what finance management is, बताइए आप में से how many of you are non-finance people?
Now nobody will resign.
अभी भी हाथ ऊपर जा रहे हैं. So I wanted to say. Now, how many of your actions affect your company's bottom line, guys? All hands should go up. Then when people like you say I'm a non-finance person, I interpret that answer to be you are saying, I don't care how my actions will affect my company's bottom line. But that's ridiculous. You should be doing nothing without first ensuring, are you strengthening that number or are you hurting that number? एक छोटा example लेते हैं. Imagine there is a salesman out in the field. Product क्या है? Let's say laptop बेच रहा है. This salesman bumps into a potential customer. Customer asks him, how much is your laptop for? For argument's sake, let us say, 100,000 rupees. That customer says, I am starting a new IT services company. I need 1,000 pieces of this laptop. But my budget is not 100,000. I can't go beyond. कोई भी number डाल दो, 80,000. क्या offer मिला उसको? If you are willing to accept my offer of 80,000, I will be happy to place an order for 1,000 pieces. अब ये salesman को decision लेना है to say yes or no. Tell me the moment he says yes or no. Has he taken a sales decision or has he taken a financial decision?
Financial.
He will call it a sales decision. But I'm saying this is finance management in action. Folks, you understand, if this fellow's company could afford 80,000, he has just now committed a crime against his company if he said no to the customer. And if his organization could not afford 80,000, he has committed a bigger crime against the company if he said yes to the customer. कोई finance वाला picture में है जब ये decision हो रहा है? And similar examples I can give you from virtually every function within the company. Every purchase, every sales, every production, every HR decision has a financial implication. Tell me, when do organizations make a profit? You do appreciate 24/7, whatever every individual is doing, that person's actions are either adding to the bottom line or taking away from it. When a larger percentage of people do things by which your bottom line becomes stronger and a smaller percentage hurts it, end result is profit, vice versa, it's a loss.
Yeah.
और जब कंपनी प्रॉफिट बनाती है, you start patting yourself on the back, I am doing everything correct. You don't even know how many people may have eaten into that number. But now imagine an organization where top to bottom everybody understands finance management मेरी जिम्मेवारी है. What do you mean by that? It is your responsibility to take financially intelligent decisions. Can you imagine what an amazing organization would that be? At the cost of offending my own fraternity, I always say, guys, ये लोग जो अपने आप को non-finance बोलते हैं, उनके एक्शन से प्रॉफिट्स आर बीइंग जनरेटेड. हमारे जैसे लोग जो अपने आप को फाइनेंस वाला बोलते हैं, हम लोग सब होने के बाद पिक्चर में आते हैं, पोस्टमार्टम करके बताते हैं, हैव यू मेड अ प्रॉफिट और अ लॉस. सो फाइनेंस प्रोफेशनल्स एक्शंस कैलकुलेट द प्रॉफिट. टेल मी, व्हाट इज रियल फाइनेंस मैनेजमेंट? इज इट द एक्शन दैट जनरेट और द एक्शन दैट कैलकुलेट?
Generate, obviously.
Not a single person can say I'm a non-finance person. So I have something against non-finance, not finance.
Yeah. No, but you're saying that, the finance for non-finance, I mean, everybody has to understand.
So misnomer.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
misnomer.
Okay. Now, one of the things we are talking of non-finance and understanding finance is this whole dichotomy. I mean, I'm sure there are younger startup people here as well and entrepreneurs. Understanding the difference between cash and profit.
Yeah, amongst the various myths in finance is that people mistakenly think profit and money is the same. In fact, they are absolutely two different things. It is possible your company makes huge amounts of profit and you don't have money in the bank. And equally possible, you may not be making profits and still sitting on huge amounts of money. So the question is, are we in business to make profit or are we in business to make money? First, इससे पहले question आता है, are we in business to generate top line or bottom line? Another mistake they make is they think business is about sales. Pura focus goes on top line and then tragic things happen. Top line is going up, bottom line is coming down. Now once you convince them business is about profit, now the next thing is, tell me, are we here to make profit or to make money? And the real answer is both. It is very, very important that your company makes a profit, but it will be a tragedy if at the end of the month you don't have money to pay salary. And therefore, again, something he touched upon, I think successful companies stand on two pillars. Pillar number one, ability to generate profit. If your company is making a profit, you have won half the battle. The other half of the battle depends on your ability to effectively manage cash flows. Guys, if you can do this, you probably sorted out 80% of financial mismanagement related problems. और जिम्मेवारी दोनों की is on the shoulders of people who call themselves non-finance.
How can you be profitable and not have money to pay salaries, and vice versa?
वो तो बड़ा simple है. That misunderstanding is because of lack of accounting knowledge.
Okay.
Profit is income minus expense. I mean, crudest example I can give you, आप लैपटॉप सपोज बेच रहे हो, आपने 100 करोड़ के लैपटॉप बेच दिए और खरीदे कितने के थे? 80 करोड़ के. कितना प्रॉफिट बनाया?
20 करोड़ at some level.
लेकिन खरीदे थे ऑन कैश पेमेंट और बेचे, उसने बोला 3 महीने बाद पैसा दूंगा. पैसा कितना है? minus 80 करोड़. This is the crudest example.
Yeah.
Your profit is plus 20 and your cash flow is minus. उसके अलावा देयर आर हंड्रेड्स ऑफ थिंग्स. आपने ऑफिस खरीद लिया होगा, ये वो तो एक्सपेंस में जाता ही नहीं ना. प्रॉफिट इज स्टिल 20 इवन इफ इट वाज इन कैश. Let's say you build some real estate, you did something else, you bought a car, which doesn't come into profit loss account at all. That's a balance sheet item.
Yeah.
So money can go out in various ways. So there are two different formulae अलग हैं, calculation अलग है.
But it becomes very difficult for people to digest कि मेरे पास इतना पैसा है बैंक में और प्रॉफिट नहीं बना रहे हैं. उल्टा भी है कि I've made profit on paper, but I don't, like you said, I don't have money to pay salaries.
ये तो
So that's why both the pillars are important.
That's why both are
managing
important.
profit and managing
Both are.
cash. Okay.
लेकिन हैविंग सेड दैट आई ऑलवेज से, अगर आपके पास कम पैसा है या यू आर सिटिंग ऑन ह्यूज अमाउंट्स ऑफ बैंक बैलेंस, आई थिंक कम वाला प्रोबेबली इज ऑन द राइट ट्रैक. चिंता की बात तब है जब बैंक में बहुत पैसा पड़ा है, नॉट व्हेन यू आर शॉर्ट ऑफ इट. ऑफ कोर्स व्हाई यू आर शॉर्ट ऑफ इट शुड बी फॉर द राइट रीजंस. यू विल बी शॉर्ट ऑफ इट बिकॉज यू आर ग्रोइंग फास्ट. पैसा आता बाद में, आपने अगला मशीन प्लान किया होता है. वो आता बाद आने के पहले ही आपने डिसाइड किया, नेक्स्ट आई विल नाउ डू दिस, देन आई विल एक्सपैंड हियर, देन आई विल सेट अप एन ऑफिस इन दुबई, देन आई विल, मल्टीपल रीजंस. सो शॉर्टेज ऑफ मनी इज अ साइन ऑफ ग्रोथ. जो इडियट मेसअप करेगा वो भी शॉर्ट होगा. तो शॉर्टेज ऑफ मनी डजंट मीन सक्सेस, बट सक्सेस इज अकम्पनीड बाय शॉर्टेज ऑफ मनी.
So frugality is good.
That's not frugality.
That's not frugality.
Sensible investment.
Sensible investment.
But extra money is where I get worried. उसके लिए मेरे को बैलेंस शीट समझानी पड़ेगी आपको. Why is extra money bad? He touched upon a very important item called cost of capital. Do you mind एक 30 सेकंड का बैलेंस शीट पे बात करूं?
Yeah.
What does the balance sheet look like? क्या होता है उसके दो साइड्स? What do liabilities represent? It represents, technically it means what you owe. Why do you owe? Because you took it. So it represents what you've taken. That is the investment made in the company. You've taken money from where? Partially from the owner, partially from outsider. And this money goes, asset side tells you what you did with the money. So you borrow from owners and outsiders and you use it for buying assets. Now the two rules he mentioned, बुक में मैंने भी एक पैरा में लिखा है, इस बुक में रोमांसिंग द बैलेंस शीट में चैप्टर लिखे हैं. And he also spent very rightly but 2-3 minutes, but frankly each of these should be discussed for 2 to 3 hours to understand in the right sense. But one thing you must remember, not a single source is free. And amongst the sources, the most expensive is the money contributed by the owner. So imagine your average cost of capital is 20%. ज़्यादा लगता है 20%? Borrowed money comes at what rate? 10, 11, 12%?
Yeah.
I think whatever rate at which you borrow, if you calculate your own cost of capital against equity, don't put, by any stretch of imagination, don't put less than 3 times of that. अगर borrowed capital 10% का है, तो equity में कम से कम 30 डालना. Some other day I'll explain why I'm saying so. So 10 and 30 का average 20 हो गया, assuming 50-50 ratio. Your money costs you 20%. अब guys, this is business. अगर 20 cost कर रहा है तो 20 कमाना पड़ेगा ना. Sources cost, उसको आपने deploy कर दिया assets में. And assets have to earn now. जिम्मेवारी है उनकी. And how much should they earn? 20 भी चलेगा. At 20, all these sources will get their expected rate of return. अब imagine करो आपने 10 करोड़ रेस किया और 5 करोड़ बैंक में पड़ा हुआ करंट अकाउंट में. कहां से कमाओगे? The time to worry is when you're sitting on money. और अगर 10 करोड़ is costing you 20% और 5 करोड़ बैंक में रखा हुआ है तो 5 करोड़ पे 40% बनाना पड़ेगा. Your money cannot be in idle form. It should be in productive assets. That's why the rule, less is bad, more is worse. Less hoga to you'll suffer from shortages. More becomes NPA. NPA means it's a non-performing asset. Non-performing means somebody will have to work harder. Sorry, something that deserves hours. 2 minutes में थोड़ा try.
But the general notion is when I borrow money from the bank, EMI चालू जाता है, interest payment, etc., etc. But owner money, equity money.
वो बेचारा सर पे नहीं बैठता इसलिए हमको लगता है free.
But it is free. I mean, as and when I earn money, as and when I earn profit, तब dividend देंगे या bonus दे देंगे. तो ये 30% 3 times कहाँ से आता है?
30 lower side बोला मैंने.
3 times what
I would normally say 50 के आसपास.
Okay. So why is it expensive? I mean, I know it is expensive.
Tell me, why would somebody put money in the business? वो नहीं डालेगा तो उसको बैंक में रख के 5% कमा सकता था, एफडी में 6-7 मिल सकता था. Had you invested in bonds, you would have earned 8-10%. Had you gone slightly more risky, you would have earned 15-18%. म्यूचुअल फंड में डाल दो 20-25% मिल जाता है. अब you sacrifice all those opportunities and put it in the business. Would anybody in his right mind put it here unless he is confident, here I will earn more than what I will earn there? Now, when you invest outside, when you put in a bank, when you buy bonds, when you buy shares, कौन काम कर रहा है? पैसा काम कर रहा है. You are free. When you put money here, पैसा भी डालते हो, सुबह 8 बजे से रात को 9 बजे तक काम भी करते हो, ब्लड प्रेशर भी बढ़ता है, स्ट्रेसेस भी होते हैं, एक 10-15% उसके लिए भी मिलना चाहिए. Then the risk factor, I mean जितने ऐड करोगे गाइस वो बढ़ते 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 50 भी कम लगेगा. उससे कम मिला तो क्यों काम कर रहे हो? Put it in investment passively. Why should you run a business and take all the risks? Doesn't make sense.
And in today's startup world, when it's not my money, but
स्टार्टअप
it is,
बेचारे डर लगता है देख के उन लोगों को यार। फाइनेंस मैनेजमेंट तो स्पेलिंग में नहीं आता होगा, मैक्स वो बेचारे ने अकाउंटेंट रख लिया तो बस फाइनेंस टेकन केयर ऑफ। अरे अकाउंटेंट अकाउंट्स करेगा, फाइनेंस थोड़ी करेगा। आई वाज विद मिस्टर व्हाट्स द नेम, अभी गए थे अपन कोंकण, अरे कैसे नाम भूल गए, जगदले। Mr. Jagdale, who's head of STP, runs a wonderful incubator session. And just last week we were together in Dapoli. He had called 25 hand-picked startups. We were talking to them. He organizes this once a year, this ISBA event. Last time I was addressing them, 450 incubators, each having hundreds of startups under them. From 14 countries had come. एवरीबडी रिकग्नाइज, नहीं फाइनेंस को समझना चाहिए, लेकिन स्टार्टअप के पास बेचारे के पास पहले तो लिमिटेड पैसा है। देन प्रायोरिटी में फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी वो तो टेक्नोलॉजी में डाल रहा है, इसमें फाइनेंस बाय द टाइम ही रियलाइजेस हाउ इंपॉर्टेंट इट इज, अनफॉर्चुनेटली इट्स वेरी लेट। तो बड़ा विशियस साइकिल है उसमें।
बट अगर फंडेड स्टार्टअप है,
सो हमारा डिस्कशन वही यही हुआ था कि फंडेड स्टार्टअप ने फंडर शुड इंसिस्ट, मैं पैसा रिलीज तब कर, मैं फीस पे करता हूं, तू पहले ये सीख क्या, देन पुट दिस इन एंड देन आई विल गिव यू द मनी, बिकॉज द मनी एट स्टेक इज द फंडर्स। इट इज इन म्यूचुअल इंटरेस्ट दैट he is well equipped.
Yeah. Okay, let me give a chance to anybody in the audience who wants to ask any question before I start again. Yes, you can shout out.
My voice is
रूम का acoustics is beautiful.
Yeah.
आराम से कैरी होगा।
One short question. As you know, writing off the invoices is a part of the business. But as a startup, how long we should keep it? 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Because after 6 months, it's always
समझा नहीं, what are you talking about? Credit period?
Writing off.
Writing off? I hope never.
Never is different.
राइट ऑफ जरा संभालना, इनकम टैक्स वाला बड़ा सस्पिशियसली देखता है राइट ऑफ को। ही थिंक्स कैश में ले लिया होगा, बुक्स में राइट ऑफ कर रहा है।
सर मेरा एक सवाल, 50% अगर इसको ऐड किया जाए अपना कॉस्ट ऑफ ओनर्स कैपिटल, आजकल
आपको एक सेशन में आना पड़ेगा वेयर आई कैन देन कन्विंस यू। ये फोरम में ये सेंसेशनलाइजिंग स्टेटमेंट बोल के छोड़ देता हूँ, इट्स वेरी इनकम्प्लीट, बट एट द एंड ऑफ अ सेशन यू विल गो बैक कन्विंस्ड कि यार ये 50 भी कम है। And how to generate that also I will tell you. Please understand, when I talk about 50%, I'm not talking about profit margin. I'm talking about ROI. आपका बिजनेस का मार्जिन 1% हो सकता है, ROI can still be 50%. But that needs to be illustrated.
Harshad.
Hi, Anil.
Hi.
I was telling you outside that I help senior professionals.
Yeah.
So many of them look for better opportunities, salary-wise, right? So I have to tell them which companies to join and where do you look for next opportunity. So my question to you is, suppose I want 50 lakh salary as a professional as a salary from the company. My value to the company should be how much?
10 times?
10 times is a good number? Yeah, that's what I was. Is a good number.
10 तो नहीं सी. I always feel companies don't pay you salary. You pay the company salary. Otherwise you won't last. आप अगर नहीं जनरेट करोगे, 1 महीना 2 महीना देगा, कितना देगा?
But 10 is at
10 is a good number.
level or
10 is a good number.
is a good number.
Any students wants to ask? Yeah.
सर आपने अभी इसके बारे में बात किया था, प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी पे फोकस करना चाहिए। बहुत से स्टार्टअप्स दूसरा भी करते हैं, वो ग्रोथ पे ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं, दे अचीव ग्रोथ फास्टर एंड देन दे फोकस ऑन प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी। व्हिच अप्रोच शुड बी बेटर? क्योंकि कुछ स्टार्टअप्स
नहीं, नो डिस्प्यूट ऑन दैट, वो स्ट्रैटेजी की बात है, बट यू फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड ये प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी रीच होने के लिए कितना टाइम लगेगा, कितना पैसा लगेगा, उसका बंदोबस्त है कि नहीं। इट्स लाइक पुशिंग अ कार अप अ स्लोप। अगर आप गाड़ी को पुश कर रहे हो तो ये उतनी ताकत होनी चाहिए कि ये टॉप तक जाए ताकि वो स्टार्ट रोलिंग डाउन ऑन इट्स ओन स्टीम। यहाँ से यहाँ के बीच में जहाँ आपकी ताकत खत्म होगी वो रोल होके वापस आ जाएगी। सो इफ योर बिजनेस इज सच दैट आपको 4 साल लगेंगे ग्रोथ वो एस्टैब्लिश करने के लिए, देन मेक श्योर देयर इज समबडी बिहाइंड यू, सॉफ्ट बैंक और समबडी, उसे तुम करो मैं हूं, बट देन दूसरे किसी ने किया, उसके पास था आपके पास नहीं और आपने उसको कॉपी किया, वो आधे में आपका खत्म हो जाएगा स्टीम. सो देयरफॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ फाइनेंस, अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्या कर रहे हो, अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन्वेस्टमेंट कितनी होने वाली है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग अपने पास उसका बंदोबस्त है कि नहीं है. Then you can afford to say, okay, I will first do this, I will first build, I will first create eyeballs, I'll first create footfalls, whatever you want to do.
Any personal mistakes that you have made in finance which led
मैंने
to
खुद?
prudence? Yes.
नहीं, मैं कमाता नहीं हूँ, खाली पढ़ाता हूँ, तो मेरे कमाना पड़ेगा ना मिस्टेक करने के लिए. फॉर्चुनेटली सब्जेक्ट हमारा शुरू से ये था, तो जरा खुद जरा बच गए उसमें से. जी.
You'll have to be louder.
lot of time entrepreneurs feel that innovation, idea generation, all those are very important than the finance, putting finance into.
I completely agree, all that important, but not at the cost of finance. In fact, each of these things involves an outlay, involves some financial commitment. And unless you have a clear understanding of the financial thing, so it's not either or, it is and. जो भी कर रहे हो, इंजीनियरिंग का सोच रहे हो, एनी इनोवेशन का सोच रहे हो, उसमें कॉस्ट तो आएगा ना.
Yeah, Smita.
When you talk about finance, how much of taxation one should understand? Quote unquote, when you talked about non-finance people.
मेरा PhD टैक्सेशन में है. I have very strong feelings about the need to pay tax, the crime of black money, the cancer of black money. I think even when I was a full-time practicing CA, my approach used to be that any attempt at saving tax is more expensive than the payment of tax. So understand करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Make sure there is somebody, right person there to guide you. Whatever is required, you have to pay, so that your mind is, first of all, the amount of mind space it occupies trying to avoid, evade, ye wo, not worth it, so that your entire focus can be on growth and all. Every penny that is tax paid can be redeployed and it can help you generate many more rupees. And any money on which taxes are not paid is so unproductive. It cannot be used, you for fear of being caught, etc. तो वो फिर parallel circle में घूमता है, and that creates what we call as the parallel economy. So understanding taxation as important, but don't have to be a master at that. Make sure there is one person attached with you who can handle these things. But don't try and go out of your way to save taxes. Please, it's not worth it.
So it's like सच बोलो सब जगह, so that you don't have to remember किसको क्या बोलो.
Correct. तो आपका फोकस होना चाहिए बिजनेस बढ़ाने में ना, नहीं तो अदर टाइम उसमें सोचते रहते हैं.
Yeah. Okay. क्या सुजाता?
So you mentioned a very, very important point that every person has to be, managing finance or has to be aware of what is the impact on the bottom line. Can you elaborate on it? Because I thought that this is a very important aspect and nobody thinks about it in the company. Or at least in my company, we haven't thought about it that way.
Which company are you with?
I run a company called Ascent Intellimation. We are into industrial IoT products. So anyway, me as a founder, I haven't thought about it that way. Maybe we have talked to our employees about saving money, etc., but not.
वो personal finance हो गया. On a business front.
Saving money for the business. Yeah. But not the way you put it. Is there any?
My definition of finance management, which I gave you, ability to understand the financial implication. Now, what does financial implication mean? Two things. Ability to understand the impact of your action on the bottom line and the ability to understand the impact of your action on the cash flow. Any action taken, having taken into account these two things, in my opinion, is a financially intelligent decision, and a collection of financially intelligent decisions make for an financially intelligent organization, which should be the ultimate objective of any organization. So, iske liye financial literacy has to be created top to bottom.
So people have to to understand all these things you're talking about, cash flow versus profit versus...
Two things, profit and cash flow.
Yeah. But do you think with some training people do
100%, 100%.
Of people, getting into this.
No.
mindset?
And once people realize how we train about 3,000 plus companies in 22 countries. L&T अकेले में हम लाख लोग पढ़ाते हैं. ऐसी 3,000. Can you imagine? Once you realize how important it is, they take it top to bottom. But then on the other hand, one of the training we do in L&T is how to execute. L&T के छोटे छोटे प्रोजेक्ट होते हैं 2,000, 3,000 crores. The bigger ones are 15, 18, 20,000. One of the training we do is how to execute the entire project with zero investment. Profit margin of L&T on an average is 11%. But if you can execute at zero investment, ROI is infinite. Focus has to be in ROI, not the margin. So बोलने को profit margin देखोगे तो 10-11% दिखेगा. But that is, don't even bother to improve profit margin. Profit margin बढ़ाने के लिए आप selling price बढ़ाओगे, then you start losing business. Don't do that. Focus on ROI. And that can only happen with financial literacy on the part of people who call themselves non-finance.
Yeah.
L&T में we say the financial mismanagement begins with when you start bidding for a project. वो बिडर इन एंजाइटी वो L1 में करके गलत बिडिंग कर दिया तो एंड में भी प्रॉब्लम होने वाला है. Then L&T, for example, sorry, I'm sharing with that because I do a lot of work there. Typical project runs for 12 months, 18 months, 24 months. So obviously billing won't happen at the end of the project. So there's a milestone billing. So the fellow who set milestones has to be financially literate. Otherwise, galat milestone billing is bad finance management. Then the job of the procurement guy to make sure, execution guy to make sure milestone reach होना चाहिए.
Yeah.
तो जब तक सबकी finance management अच्छी नहीं है, कंपनी की कहाँ से होगी? और एक भी बॉटल ने कहा गया, you have to shell out hundreds of crores out of pocket. But if the entire team can work as a well-oiled machine, then वो छोटा सा जो advance लिया था, will last you till the first milestone invoice. Then first milestone invoice से पैसे से second हो जाएगा. Second, पूरा project without money हो सकता है. Makes a world of difference. You pick up two infrastructure companies, for example. एक में financial intelligence है, दूसरे में नहीं है. Similar project. अरे profit pulls apart, bank balances pulls apart. Then you start wondering, हम भी वही करते हैं, ये भी वही करते हैं. Why are they different from us? Because they are financially intelligent.
That's the key word.
Yep, absolutely.
You have a question? Yeah. Okay.
Hello. So when we started the session, you said that you are successful, and you said I sleep well at night, right? So when we say success, so when we are talking about success, many times people are thinking about finance perspective, but there are a lot of intangibles, right? So let's say things like sustainability or employee. I think that is the challenge, right? When it comes to finance, we are only talking about money. Is there a way to?
All those are important, but मेरे को नहीं समझते वो सब.
Successful है कि नहीं? Can we decide it only based on the money? The finance is not good.
You're right. मगर पैसा नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं कर सकोगे. No ESG can happen without money. Even charitable organizations, guys.
Yeah.
वहाँ profit word नहीं use करोगे, वहाँ surplus बोलेंगे. If you don't generate a surplus, you can't continue doing charity for long. People in India used to think profit is a bad word. अभी भी थोड़ा आपके बात से लग रहा है. But it's not a bad word. उसके बगैर nothing moves ahead.
No, I'll give you an example. I can make a product using a sustainable material, or I can do it without it. I'll make more profit with the non-sustainable
Fair
material. So in the long term, the sustainable is good. But
You're right. But if I start advocating all that, ऐसा खिचड़ी बन जाएगा, वो finance ही भूल जाएंगे वो लोग. So others are there to do that. Wonderful people. My wife, one of them, advocating healthy practices. She runs a skincare brand, goes out of her way not to use plastic, not to use this, not to use that. Cost, everything goes up. थोड़ा compromise करोगे तो, but नहीं, wonderful. People are doing. खाने में God knows from where all she procures organic stuff, ये वो, बेकार looking, लेकिन 3 गुना. So there are people who do that. Each one wears a role. She's got that hat, I've got my hat.
That's why I asked you. Any wrong? Because she's your better half.
Better was the एक ही good bad.
अभी ये balance sheet है. But I love this hypothesis that the financial literacy ultimately determines the financial health. Normally we say this company is successful when the idea is very innovative, yeah, marketing badi tagdi hai and all. It is actually boiling down to people being financially.
All those things are important, but if all those things are not done in a financially intelligent way, they will fail. That is the point. It percolates into every activity. That's the point.
Okay, let me come to one of the last things which I wanted to talk to you. Something big is going to happen in the next 16-17 hours, which is the budget.
और निर्मला जी का बजट थोड़ा सा टेंशन देना I do train some IAS officers. I do train Income Tax Department. Bombay has been a big client. We train SFIO, Serious Fraud Investigation Office in Delhi. कुछ और IAS वाले हैं. फिर the secretary in charge of electricity in Karnataka. So we used to train the Bangalore electricity supply company. I say from time to time, lot of these government organizations. I train the police sometimes. Cyber crime wale kabhi kar. In between, we did a session for EOW.
He's asking you a direct question. Do you train Nirmala Sitharaman?
See, it's a tricky question. If he says yes, he can't. He can't say yes. He can't say no. No, but on a more serious note, increasingly last couple of years, and I'm not saying 10 years, maybe more than that as well. The importance of budget is sort of decreasing because government is not shying away from making policy changes or policy decisions in between. So why is budget still, and what is the importance of budget in today's times?
The budget, though, first of all, is simply a financial statement expressing intention. कहाँ खर्च करने वाले हैं और कहाँ से आएगा. So वो exercise तो करना ही करना है.
Yeah.
How effective it is, what role it plays, that keeps changing. Guys, what is the budget? कहाँ से पैसा आता है? दो जगह से. Should I give you 101 on budget?
Yeah.
It comes from earnings, it comes from borrowings. Where does it go? Two places. Revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Receipts may be, earnings are revenue receipts and borrowings are capital receipts. जो फाइनेंस का प्रिंसिपल कंपनी में बताते हैं कि नेशन को भी उतना ही अप्लाई होता है. जैसे ही वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट शॉर्ट टर्म मनी यूज फॉर लॉन्ग, डोंट डू दैट. लॉन्ग टर्म पैसे से लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट खरीदना चाहिए बिजनेस में. शॉर्ट टर्म एसेट से शॉर्ट टर्म ले सकते हैं. लॉन्ग टर्म पैसे से शॉर्ट टर्म एसेट ले सकते हैं, बट शॉर्ट टर्म पैसे से लॉन्ग टर्म एसेट नहीं लेना चाहिए. सिमिलरली गवर्नमेंट का रेवेन्यू रिसीट्स should be greater than revenue expenditure. Very crudely put, revenue receipt मतलब taxes, revenue expenditure मतलब वो income tax वालों को जो सैलरी दिया कलेक्ट करने के लिए taxes. ऐसा नहीं हो कि सैलरी ज्यादा है और कलेक्शन कम है. Correct? What will happen if revenue receipts are less than revenue expenditure? तो आपको borrow करना पड़ रहा है to pay salaries. That situation should not happen. And if your receipts are less than expenditures, that budget is a deficit budget. Barabar? But deficit can be of two types. Uska internal breakup bhi hai na? If revenue receipts are more than revenue expenditure, it's a surplus. If revenue expenditure is more than receipts, it's a revenue deficit. फिर वो कैपिटल पे एक डेफिसिट हो सकता है एंड देन बजटरी डेफिसिट. डेफिसिट होना बुरा नहीं है. शुड गवर्नमेंट बी स्पेंडिंग ज्यादा, मतलब ज्यादा स्पेंड कर रहे हैं, तो व्हाट्स रॉन्ग? क्यों ज्यादा स्पेंड कर रहे हैं? दे आर गिविंग अस वंडरफुल रोड्स, दे आर गिविंग अस वंडरफुल ब्रिजेस, वंडरफुल एयरपोर्ट्स, प्लीज स्पेंड मोर. पर ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि अच्छा वो पैसा कहां से आएगा उसका? बोरोइंग से. बोरोइंग करने के बाद भी कम पड़ गया तो फिर प्रिंटिंग प्रेस. करेक्ट? प्लीज प्रिंट मनी एंड गिव अस गुड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. बट फॉर हेवन सेक डोंट प्रिंट मनी टू पे सैलरीज ऑफ करप्ट गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स को हैं. तो प्रॉब्लम वहां आता है. So that is something you should look out for in the budget.
Okay.
क्या do we have a deficit? If we have a deficit, फिर printing का fallout क्या है? What is that printing of money called? It's called deficit financing. Fallout is, as you correctly said,
Inflation.
deficit financing is inflationary. Why is deficit financing inflationary?
There's no production to match up with it.
Correct. More money chases same quantity of goods. Guys, अगर हम सब लोग कंट्री में 100 रुपीज कमाते हैं एंड देन ऑल ऑफ अस डबल मेहनत करना स्टार्ट करते हैं एंड वी अर्न 200, क्या हो गया? कंट्री का बाइंग पावर हैज डबल्ड. विल इट लीड टू इन्फ्लेशन? आंसर इज नो. व्हाई नॉट? अरे हम 100 रुपया कमाते थे, अब हम डबल मेहनत कर रहे हैं. तो मेहनत करने से क्या हुआ? 200 कमाया लेकिन डबल प्रोड्यूस किया ना. नॉन इन्फ्लेशनरी. बट व्हेन यू प्रिंट मनी टू स्पेंड, प्रोडक्शन उतना ही है, मनी सप्लाई बढ़ गया. मोर मनी चेजेस सेम क्वांटिटी ऑफ गुड्स, देयरफॉर इट बिकम्स इन्फ्लेशनरी. सो हर चीज को जरा वो चश्मा लगा वैसा देख के देखना पड़ेगा. डेफिसिट में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, रीजन क्या है उसका? व्हाट इज दैट मनी बीइंग यूज्ड फॉर? व्हाट कॉज्ड इट? इज इट इनएफिशिएंसी और इज इट बिकॉज वी आर ग्रोइंग एंड सो ऑन?
You said deficit में problem नहीं है, but sometime it will be a problem, right?
No, no, no,
Never?
no, no.
Somebody
If you
has
can
to-
use it for productive purposes, no. In fact, लोग बोलते रेलवे लॉस में चल रहा है, तो क्या हो गया? प्रॉफिट करना है, लेट्स ऑल स्टार्ट पेइंग डबल भाड़ा. नहीं, वो नहीं करना. अरे रेलवे लॉस में चल सकता है क्योंकि आपको 100 रुपए की सर्विस देते हैं और 80 रुपए चार्ज कर रहे हैं. सो इफ द लॉस इज ड्यू टू गिविंग यू वैल्यू फॉर मनी, तो क्या हो गया? लॉस है तो गरीब लोगों को आप वे ऑफ ट्रैवल दे रहे हो ना. बट लॉस शुड नॉट बी बिकॉज inefficiency, because corruption, because this, because that. No, I'm giving example. Suppose you give them flight tickets at the cost of railway, और government subsidize कर रही है. Point is, you're giving people service.
But then what about this so-called, I'm using that word, revdi?
वो अलग है, वो तो
That is also deficit, right?
वो political budget है.
जी. Long term for long term.
So I understood that principally, but if you can explain it or give a clarity by some example.
यार, you can't, don't swipe a credit card and buy a house. अगर घर खरीदा और अपने पास अगर पैसा नहीं है और लगता है कि घर का कॉस्ट कमा के देने के लिए 20 साल लगेंगे, तो ऐसी हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी के पास जाओ जो 20 साल अलाउ करती है. हियर इफ यू टेक अ लोन रीपेएबल इन 10 years and use it to buy a house which deserves 20, according to me, that itself means using short-term money for long-term purposes. If I come to Advait and I say, Advait, give me a loan, I'll pay you 10% interest. And I go and give it to him. Rule number 1 says, don't give it less than 10. Assets should earn more than what liabilities cost you.
Yeah.
And loan है ना, तो अद्वैत ने कंडीशन डाला 3 महीने में वापस कर दो. तो I can't give it to him से 4 महीने में वापस करना. Then he should return it to me within 2 months maybe. तो
By that logic, does it mean that if I am taking a short-term loan from a bank,
don't buy a building, don't buy a machine, don't.
for my business purpose,
Correct.
should I
Marketing is different. It may or may not generate results. No, you can use it to buy inventory. So this can be used for working capital purposes. Again, जैसे मैंने country का बताया ना, capital expenditure revenues. Company का fund investment goes into assets, fixed assets and working capital. We are saying short-term money should be used for working capital purposes. If you want to buy a machine, you want to buy a building, then use long-term money. What is long-term money? Either a loan with banker allows you 5-7 years to pay or equity. तो equity और long-term loan से आप long-term assets खरीद सकते हो. Short-term पैसा जो बैंक से लोगे, cash credit, bank overdraft, etc. should be used for working capital cycle में पैसा वापस आ जाता है ना. That money can be used for working capital. You cannot go wrong if you use long-term money and put it for working capital. But don't use short-term money and buy long-term assets.
So, you mentioned cost of equity is 40-50% notionally. Conservative side. So, I should not use that equity money, owner's money, into buying office space or.
नहीं, by all means do.
But that office space is
business की profitability देखनी है ना.
हाँ, but office space is not going to give me that.
हाँ, तो each asset doesn't have to earn.
हाँ, okay.
Your entire business should be able.
Okay.
And office is an essential part of the business.
Okay. Any more questions, or we? Yeah.
Sir, I'm a finance student, so I just wanted to know how we can understand the financial aspect of, say, a state or nation in order to
यही बता रहा था मैं भी. Deficit.
Over the years कैसे एनालिसिस करें और क्या पैरामीटर्स हो सकते हैं?
Deficit.
वो तो काफी कुछ है. GDP, VDP इसके एंगल से गवर्नमेंट की क्या पॉलिसीज होती हैं. Number 1, GDP growth. Number 2, control of inflation. Number 2, currency valuation should be under check. Number 4, employment. All these parameters पे you have to measure a government's success. Is GDP going up? Is unemployment coming down? Is inflation under control? ये तो clear cut dimension है ना, to government के report card के लिए. Economic survey आया कल परसों. If you go through that, you'll get all that information from there.
कल 11 बजे टीवी के सामने बैठो, start हुई.
जी.
Question more from a human behavior point of view. Is greed more powerful or fear in terms of finance?
All decisions are due to one or the other of these. Every decision in life is controlled by fear or greed. Stock market का problem वहीं से होता है.
Okay, so with that, thank you, Anil, for the wonderful session. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Anil Gupta.
Thank you so much.
And let me. So we have, as always, goodies for you. So this is it's a local fragrance company.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So many of you know this is Rushikesh Lonkar from A Fragrance Story, and he has specifically told me Kumbh Mela chal raha hai, so he's given a fragrance called Ganga.
Thank you.
This is, of course, on behalf of us.
One more.
It's a book and a small kind of thing. So thank you.
Timeless will.
No, it's not your book. And this is a hamper from Doubletree Hilton. So more for you.
सब गाड़ी में फिट आना चाहिए. कितना देते जा रहे हो? Thank you so much.
So thank you so much. And can I invite Bhagwanti for a kind of thing? So small token of appreciation for you as well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
If you permit, I'd just like to tell. Earlier I missed the opportunity and now I shan't after becoming a little more wise. I mean, I did not tell you about the institute, but some of you are new here. And I'd like to tell you that we are under the aegis of the Sadhu Vaswani mission. We have some 26 institutions, educational institutions under the banner of Sadhu Vaswani mission. And Sadhu Vaswani started these educational institutions because he believed that there should be empowerment of women. And this was not a term that was in currency way back, I mean, almost a century ago, okay? He felt that women needed upliftment. He was not really fond of the word empowerment because the word power is in empowerment. And he said power always will corrupt, right? So he believed that women require the necessary opportunities to grow and to blossom. And therefore, most of our institutions are for women. Sadhu Vaswani Institute of Management Studies, the building where you are right now, is around 14 years old, and we are committed to helping women achieve professional excellence and to, take on the mantle of growth, the mantle of economic development, social development, emotional development, and help the nation rise and shine. You'd be happy to know that we are one amongst 167 institutions all over India. Among these 167 institutions, most of them are engineering colleges. Very few are management colleges which have been accredited by the National Board of Accreditation. We are a small institute with great impact. We also have been awarded NAC Grade A, but we are not happy with it and it is under appeal. We do hope that there will be an upward swing in the grade, and we would be happy if you recommend our institute to many others whom you may know. Thank you very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking time out on a Friday evening and spending great time with understanding finance and becoming more financial literate than what we were. So, thank you, Anil, for that. As you know, we just about made our January session. Today is our 31st evening. So, our February session is very soon. It's on 14th of February. So, I know it's 14th of February. People have different agendas. So, we'll start at 5 and we'll finish by 6:30. So, you can do whatever you want to in the evening. And we're going to have there's a book written by again a Pune-based author called Parveen Prasad. She's written a book on CEO dialogues. She's sort of interviewed and profiled 13 CEOs in and around Pune. So you hopefully have two of them and her in the session. And I can promise you they'll be financially literate CEOs. So look forward to meeting all of you. This is again going to be a different venue. Watch out for the BTL community WhatsApp or LinkedIn. If any of you are interested in getting these updates for every such program, let me know after the program and I'll add you to the WhatsApp community. Thank you, good evening, and let's have a great budget tomorrow.